Again, my name's Leslie Davis Blackwell. I am the one of the co-coordinators of the Silent No More awareness campaign. We're the folks that hold these signs that we regret our abortions. We're the ones that stand out on the front lines, talk about the impact that abortion had on our lives, and it's not an easy thing to do, but it must be done. So that's who we are, and I've got several of our Silent No More friends here today to share their testimonies with you. You know, about 30 years ago, it was 30 years ago that I was a radical pro-choice feminist. I hate to admit it, but you know, I would fight for a woman's right to choose. It was all about that. But thank God, and this is what's so ironic, it's actually not ironic, but 8 years ago today, on April 23rd, my life profoundly changed. And the good Lord, I started doing I started walking with Christ, and I was able to start becoming honest with myself. And as I got more and more involved in my faith, I realized I had been a pretty bad sinner, and those abortions were really affecting my soul. Only by the grace of God did my heart dramatically change. This is how sick I was and blinded, guys. I was 1 month away from becoming a board member of that organization. 1 month away. When, thank God, he grabbed me and said, "Oh no, ma'am, you will not fight against life anymore." So I thank God, because transforming power that he gives us is amazing. I vowed that day that I would spend the rest of my life fighting for the lives of the unborn, and that's what we're doing here today. Why are we here today? And it's really to let Virginia voters know that Planned Parenthood is bad for America. They are bad for America. And that Virginia, this is our slogan, our state slogan is that Virginia is for lovers. Well, let's make it Virginia is for lovers of life, okay? Let's really, really hammer that home. At this very place here, folks, we have just gotten some information about some botched abortions and other violations. In fact, at the resource table from the Family Foundation of Virginia, they have got all the violations from 2014 to current day, and an article that was written about that very botched abortion. It's insightful, and I highly recommend that you get it and you read it, because it'll tell you the truth of what's really happening in here. And the bottom line is, when a woman has a complication from an abortion in one of these clinics, they're not required by law to report it. Did you know that? They're not required to report a complication. So when a woman has had a problem, she usually goes to her OBGYN or she goes to the hospital. So you see, we don't have the correct numbers. What they tell us here, we really cannot trust. At this very place is where that botched abortion took. Now, this past Tuesday, I don't know if y'all have been watching the congressional, have you been watching the congressional hearings? The Select Panel on Infant Lives. They released a series of exhibits that proved beyond a shadow of a doubt that Planned Parenthood had lied to the American people. And listen to this, and had participated in an elaborate human fetal tissue procurement network designed to harvest, package, and profit from the sale of parts from aborted children. This congressional panel says without a shadow of a doubt that those videos validate what we have seen. The horrors of those chilling videos last year showing Planned Parenthood officials discussing crushing an unborn child's body in order to most effectively procure that baby's organs. It's sick, and we're forced to pay for this genocide with our tax dollars. It's insanity, and it's got to stop. Planned Parenthood has engaged in an aggressive public relations campaign to convince the public that the videos that were released last summer were a hoax, and that Planned Parenthood never profited from the sale of fetal remains. Well, now we can all see for ourselves that that was a bold-faced lie. Planned Parenthood should be prosecuted for their crimes.
Amen.
After those videos were released last summer, Planned Parenthood was under attack. They got scared. And despite the corruption and the illegal activities that we know are taking place in that facility and in abortion clinics throughout our state and throughout the world, this particular one continues to get $500 million. So the Planned Parenthood organization gets $500 million of our tax dollars, even though we know what they're doing. It's preposterous. I want to say a special thank you to our lawmakers. I see one has just arrived, Delegate Dave LaRocque. Thank you to our conservative, pro-life lawmakers, because they did their job. They passed, our House and our Senate passed a bill to defund Planned Parenthood. But guess who vetoed it? Who vetoed that bill, folks? None other than our spineless Governor Terry McAuliffe, who promised to be a brick wall against abortion regulations. Not only did he spit in our face as citizens who do not want our tax dollars going to this organization, he had the audacity and the arrogance to hold a secretive signing ceremony right there. I mean, never before has a Virginia governor done anything like that. It was outrageous, and it's all a political move. It was his payback to all his cronies in the abortion business. Remember, Planned Parenthood and NARAL and other pro-choice groups and their pro-death allies gave him over $2 million. $2 million for his campaign. They bought him. And don't forget, he was also the head of the Democratic National Committee. You remember that? This is all political. It's all political. So ladies and gentlemen, this is a pivotal election year. And elections matter, and your voice matters. We must vote for candidates who will promise to end funding of our nation's largest abortion chain. This very place and its over 600 locations that promote sex, they promote perversion, and they promote death on our tax dime. And it's time to stop. Yeah. Our first speaker, Delegate Dave LaRocque. Don, can I have our speaker here first, please? Thank you. Hello, thank you. Come on up to this wonderful stage of ours. I'm going to move out of here. Delegate Dave LaRocque was elected in November 2013. He's serving his second term representing the 33rd House District. Thank you for coming all the way down this morning. He serves on the Transportation Committee, the Science and Technology Committee, and the Education Committee. Dave and his wife Joanne live in Loudoun County for 28 years. You've got 7 children, 8 grandchildren, 1 on the way, right? And Delegate LaRocque has introduced pro-life legislation each of his 3 years that he's been in office now, and including the most important, I think, and I'm sure you're going to be addressing this, the Pain-Capable Unborn Child Protection Act. So let's give a warm Richmond welcome to Delegate Dave LaRocque. Really close to this, our sound and stuff on.
Well, good morning, everybody. It's an honor and a privilege to serve in the House of Delegates, and I'm very glad to be here to encourage you. But I'm going to need some encouragement back from you. So when I say something like, great job, Leslie, for being the energetic, pro-life powerhouse that you are, encourage me and encourage Leslie with a big round. It was raining cats and dogs when I left Loudoun this morning, so your prayer team must be on the ball and bringing the results that you need. It is a very, very serious purpose that you're all here for. Standing against the lies that are the foundation of the abortion industry, the foundation of Planned Parenthood, is no small thing. I had the privilege of attending the March for Life this year. It was a real quirk. I typically would be in session during that time, but because that great big snowstorm was bearing down on actually the whole state, I was able to get home Thursday night and threw a last-minute plan together with a couple of my kids and one of their friends, and went down there and was in a crowd of people just like you who are standing strong year after year because that we know that we can never be silent, we can never give up, speaking the truth boldly and lovingly, compassionately. And it was great to see that crowd, knowing that those people were there despite knowing that they may be snowed in, may not even be able to make it back to their buses and their hotel rooms. So it's great to be, again, in this crowd. I brought my sign with me from that rally. And it also brings to mind, as I come to this, that the year before last, when I was in session, I got a text from my 16-year-old daughter, 16 at the time, and she said, "Dad, my friends and I want to carpool to the March for Life." And I realized I hadn't encouraged her to do that. I hadn't told her about it coming up. So again, I was just so enthused to see her, young people like are here today, that remind us that our cause is just, it is clear to people who have a mind that's open to the truth, and we have a generation of pro-life young people coming up to follow in our steps. Hopefully in a day when Roe v. Wade is history and is never will be forgotten, but that it will become, it will no longer be the law of the land.
Yeah.
So it's very much something that we're all going to have to engage in. Planned Parenthood is all about providing women's health and mammograms. Am I right? You guys are awake. That was a test. They're about promoting lies and deceiving women so that they can get their money-grubbing hands on every single dollar that they can possibly get their hands on. And that is a despicable motive to provide the service and to deceive people the way they do. And that, I think, is largely why we're here today. Now, those are harsh words, and I want to temper them always by saying I have nothing but compassion and empathy for women who have been deceived by that, women who are healing and recovering from that. And I'm sure there's many among us today, and we have a special love for you that you turned your life, that part of your life around and become part of the pro-life movement. We love you dearly, and keep up the good work to those women. If you think for a second that Planned Parenthood is about providing good information and helping women, ask yourself, why would they possibly want to prevent women from having something as basic as the information that an ultrasound shows? We know the answer is clear, because women who see the life inside them, see the baby inside them, are changed. It changed the heart of Bernard Nathanson. It changes the heart of hundreds of women every day, women who see those pictures. And that is why Planned Parenthood wants to withhold that kind of information from women. Only someone who does not care about women at all would want to withhold that kind of information from women. It is just proof that they are about deception and lies and making money. There's an example, if you go to the National Right to Life website, that really caught my attention, and it just, you see the signs over here that show what a child looks like after going through a D&E abortion. There's a chart there that David Andrusko realized at some point, after looking at it, seeing it years and years and years, realized that chart was anatomically correct in every respect, except what it depicted, a 16-week D&E abortion, showed an empty uterus. It showed the forceps in place, it showed the hand of the abortionist, but an empty uterus. And that is what the promoter of these lies would like women to think, that there is not a human life, that there is not a baby present in the womb. So as we speak out and share the truth about things like the 20-week Unborn Child Protection Act, that's a mouthful, isn't it? 20-week pain-capable Unborn Child Protection Act. It shifts the conversation and helps people realize that there is a baby in the womb, and that is what we're trying to protect. I want to just talk a little bit about this bill. because it is an ongoing effort. It is a wonderful bill. We work with sample legislation for the National Right to Life people. Olivia Gans Turner comes to Richmond, and she is a spectacular ally. Olivia is with the Virginia Society for Human Life, affiliated with the National Right to Life. Her team includes Maggie Disney, Louise Hart, Mary Bach. We work with our friends at the Family Foundation, Eddie Aliff, the Independent Baptists. They're there every day in the Capitol, helping us to bring an understanding of what this bill is about. It is a very strategic bill, very well thought out, and it is passed in 13 states, and it should be the law here in Virginia. And with your help, it will be soon, but it is very much a team effort that causes something like this to move forward. So when I say we need to pass this bill, I want to be very emphatic. We means my team, it means Olivia and her team, it means Leslie and her team, but you are part of that team. We need to help you understand the bill, and there's plenty of information out there. And when the time comes, find out if your elected senator, your delegate, is supportive of the bill. If he is, let him know that you appreciate that. If he's not, encourage him to be a patron, a co-patron on the bill, which is a strong statement of support. We have many, many co-patrons on the bill this year. I noticed that it was surprised many people to have that the bill and its progress make the front page of the Richmond Times-Dispatch after just a subcommittee hearing. And I think the Washington Post realized that with as many patrons as we had on the bill, that it will not go away, because it is a very well thought out bill and a very, very compelling argument. I'm going to help you just understand a little bit of how we present that bill by reading just a few bullet points that I presented in both of the committee hearings, well, 2 different years in the committee hearings, and they give you a little bit of an insight as to what it's about. So again, I'm reading these bullet points. The question would be, why would we pass this into law? And these help provide the answer to that. We start out by pointing out that there's substantial medical and scientific evidence proving that unborn children do feel pain 20 weeks after fertilization. At 20 weeks, unborn children have pain receptors throughout their body, a thalamus, and nerves linking their pain receptors to their thalamus. Unborn children start reacting to physical touch much earlier than 20 weeks, and by 20 weeks, respond to pain much the same as you or I would, by recoiling. Pain causes unborn children stress, just like it causes you and me stress, measurable by corresponding rise in stress hormones. Anesthesia is routinely administered for fetal surgery for unborn children precisely because they feel pain and respond strongly to it. You and I all know what it's like to feel pain. We've seen it, we felt it ourselves when we were children. When we know that a child is being subject to excruciating pain and we can stop it, we should. I'd like to use a quote, again, reading from a few of these bullet points, from Dr. Anthony Levitano. Probably many of you are familiar with Dr. Levitano, OBGYN, who performed over 1,200 abortions before he turned away from being an abortion provider. He said in testimony before Congress that the D&E abortion procedure most commonly used on unborn children of this age. If you don't think this doesn't hurt, if you think this doesn't hurt, if you believe that it is an agony for this child, please think again and again. This is a man who has performed many, many abortions himself. Another very, very compelling quote is from Supreme Court Justice Kennedy, who wrote of the same abortion procedure. No one would dispute that for many, D&E is a procedure itself laden with the power to devalue human life. The fetus in many cases dies just as a human adult or child would. It bleeds to death as it's torn limb from limb. In a majority opinion, Gonzalez v. Carhart, Supreme Court Justice Kennedy wrote, and this is again what makes a very compelling argument for passing this bill and expecting that it would survive challenges. Justice Kennedy said the state may use its regulatory power to bar certain procedures and substitute others, all in the furtherance of its legitimate state interest in regulating the medical profession in order to promote respect for human life, including life of the unborn. I noticed that even Justice Kennedy is referring to the life in the womb as human life. The last bullet point is the purpose of this legislation is to promote respect for life as a safeguard for the unborn child against the excruciating pain of an abortion procedure. What this bill does is it takes the conversation to protecting unborn babies. And when we in the pro-life community talk about protecting unborn babies, our adversaries are talking about women's this and women's rights there. But even people who call themselves pro-abortion have the compassion to support an effort like this. So that's why others have had such great successes, and 13 other states have passed this bill, and it should become law in Virginia very soon. And as Leslie said, it's going to be taking a pro-life governor because elections have consequences, and we do not have a pro-life governor. We have a radically pro-abortion governor, as you well know. I wish I could say that we had a great session here in 2016, but some of the initiatives that had a distinct moral component to them did not do as well as they should. This life bill made it to a full committee hearing, and that was progress, and just kind of ferreting out where the opposition is and learning how to address it better was great progress, but I was not satisfied with that. Our goal next year is to vote in the House and the Senate and pass this bill, pass it on to Governor McCall, and in 2017, send it to a governor who will actually sign it so that we can begin saving babies' lives. You're an important part of that. I'm going to keep reminding you of that. Delegate Klein's bill was a great bill. I'm sure others will be talking about that today, that would prioritize spending health dollars on health service providers who do not perform abortions. I won't go into detail about that, again, expecting that others will. I want to encourage you with a verse from Scripture that encourages me. You've probably heard it before, especially in a pro-life rally context. But it is 2 Samuel 23, 11 and 12. And I'll just paraphrase and describe it. It is where Shammah, the Israelite, stood in a lentil patch against the Philistine army. And his name means God is here. God is there. God is here. Excuse me for hesitating there. But when God was with Shammah as he was, he saw a great victory over a very, very powerful adversary. So when our adversary, the powers of darkness that promotes what goes on in this clinic, look powerful, I'm encouraging you not to be intimidated, to stand strong, and we will see that victory. When these videos came out last year from the Center for Medical Progress, it really, like the ultrasound, like the trial of Kermit Gosnell, it woke people up. It opened our eyes to what goes behind these curtains. And we need to continue to just bring that truth forward, encourage others, like Bernard Nathanson, who after presiding over 60,000 abortions, there's a man whose heart was turned. If his heart can be turned to become a pro-life activist as he was before he died, anyone's heart can be turned. It's going to take the power of prayer and the truth presented lovingly and compassionately to win people's hearts and to open their minds to what's really going on here. I'm going to close by saying it is our job to keep tearing down those lies and again sharing the truth in love and compassion, the glorious truth that all babies have the God-given right to be born. And with that, I'd like to ask you for a big amen, and thank you again for the opportunity.
Very good. And it's only kids and grandkids. They're pretty old. 60, not 60, 59. They deal with it.
Okay. Thank you so much, Delegate LaRock. That was beautiful. You know, he did talk about Bernard Nathanson, which is so important to know. He was the guy that started NARAL and really fast-tracked the the whole abortion industry. As Delegate LaRock just explained to you, his conversion story is remarkable. He was a Jewish atheist man who really promoted abortions, and he did oversee about 60, 70,000 abortions, including 2 of his own. When he was in med school, he aborted his own child. And a lot of people don't, are not aware of that. So Bernard Nathanson, but the conversion, if God could turn him, he can turn anybody. All I can say is he sure turned me, because I was on the other side too, living the darkness of my abortions. And there you go, people for life, okay. All right, our next speaker, this is okay, now we got the politics out of the way, okay? Now we're gonna get into some incredible stories of life and inspiration. You're gonna love them. Where is our little friend? I bet you she's being interviewed now. Ah, there she is, okay. Planned Parenthood claims to provide information about all sorts of options. Have y'all taken a look at their website lately? Take a peek, you'll be shocked, and I'll go into that a little bit later. But they tell you that they have all these options for you, but they really don't. They say that they include adoption as one of their options.